What's up, bros? Non-bros, what's going on here? Bulls on Wall Street. A lot to unpack in today's market action. We got, the Holy Hail Mary from the Lord and Savior NVDA today. A monster run, up 18%. There's not much you can really say about it. This is a $2 trillion company that's moved like a small cap. It is very rare, right? Like imagine if Apple moved 100 points, right? Or 18%, right? You would just, that thing moves like 10 cents at a time. It is very rare for a stock to just get so many pesos in one round, but that's where we are. And that sparked a whole market run, and this is kind of the interesting part of it. A lot of people thought, myself included, that, this market run was a lot based on the potential of interest rates getting cut, and so we're kind of forward looking into that. But in reality, like we've been kind of drifting down for a little bit of time, but this AI thing is really probably a primary driver of the market, at least in terms of the Magnificent Seven stocks. Because frankly, interest rates don't really matter to them anyways. They are nation states themselves, right? With hundreds of billions of dollars in cash. And so they're very interest rate probably not sensitive versus, small caps and IWM things. But I will say this, the NVIDIA lifted all boats today. The IWM even had a decent day today. It was opening up pretty much flat. It held at its support here. And frankly, this does not look bearish to me at all. We do have some distribution over here in this one candle, two candles, but it looks like, we could still have some of this kind of broader participation that we've been waiting for. But in the meantime, like even if we don't get it, these kind of, these tech stocks are giving us a lot of opportunities, after NVIDIA started to take off at the open, right? We had just a world-class kind of move on, AMD into here. Right, 13 points. I mean, look at the calls on this thing, up 300, 400%. There was all sorts of fun stuff going on. So overall, I don't think there's too much to read into the markets. There's a couple things that we want to just be mindful of. Number one, Fridays are always, there's a lot of trickery that goes on Fridays. The big option squeezes have been happening a lot on Fridays. We saw like Amazon calls like last week up like the 0DT's up like 10x. There's a lot of random weird shit that happens. The market seems to like to squeeze on Fridays. But there is a caveat to this. We are up 3% today. And the play has always been, of the last 6 months, when the market's up, has a big trend day, a gap and grind day, the first hour and a half are very choppy the next day. So you're going to have to be really careful about how you react into the next, into the next morning. We may gap down, but you're not necessarily going to just gap down or open weak and go red to green. You often will, come in and test the top of the range, come back, test the top of the range, test the top of the range. And you do that, and then, maybe you squeeze into the afternoon, or maybe you don't, even as we're kind of into resistance. We don't necessarily know yet, but that has been like a tried and true. We've been always farting around for the first hour and a half after a big trend day in the market, and that's what we really did get today. It was off to the base, off to the open, and we never even pulled back below, right, opening price, which is also very rare. Not even like a smidget of a hint of a gap fill. The biggest pull we got was really just to the 9 EMA VWAP, which lasted for a good 12 minutes, and then it was off to the races. So let's get into the watch list. I've got a nice list of longs for you guys, and then we've got a couple just select shorts that I think can work in this market, irregardless if the market's running or not. So if you need them, you always want to keep them in your back pocket so that you're not hunting around for them. The worst thing you can do is, right, it's 2 a.m. and you close one eye and you just start getting handsy looking for something. Right? There's a time and place for that, but not right now with all this premium setups going on. We want to be a little bit more selective. So we've got all sorts of little breakouts setting up here. This route, 25% of the float is short right now. This has been a big giant turd here. It's $550. It's an insurance company. How they lose money selling insurance is beyond me, but here we are. We've got a breakout right around $14 and some change. We had 7 million shares in volume. Let's keep this on the watch list. I think it could be a go tomorrow. It is. If you're not trading well, this is probably a stay away due to the fact that it is wicky and spiky and, you know, it is wicky and spiky. Like by the end of it, you might make 20%, but it ends up being a matter of, you know, how much of an annoyance you can take. You know, it's Friday. Anything can happen. These kind of squeezes can happen, but, you know, sitting bare ass on a cactus, it can be fun, but there's a lot of healing that has to be done after that, right? It can be fun, but it's not really that fun. Now, this I'm into. CVNA announced earnings. And, you know, the PRs came out a different way. You know, one PR said they had record-breaking earnings. The other one just said the loss narrows, revenue declines, right? So go fucking figure, right? They don't got much going on here. Revenue's still declining. But in this market, just the fact that they're losing less money than they used to be, hey, man, that's enough for it. And you've got a breakout spot here. This 70's been like this kind of 70, 60 zone, between 60 and 65 has been a big long base. I mean, it's going back from last spring, so we're coming into the spring almost, you know, 8-9 months of basing, and it's been a wide-ranging basing, but we do got something there. There could be a little short squeeze brewing in this. Let's see how the first pullback happens. This is not a particular name that you want to come in too hot on at the open, you know, on the first candle, like that kind of thing, but let's see if it pulls back and holds. RXRX, 21 million shares in volume. A breakout today. You know, this was running on God knows what today. It's got its own mind. But it does have earnings coming out on the 26th, so you've got a shot to have like a little pre-earnings run. And you can see the kind of base that's been setting up around this kind of 15 spot. If you can clear these levels of supply, I think you're going to be in for a little bit of Friday fun. SQ and earnings out. Man, I wish these things, you know, the gaps on these, like the algo gaps are getting crazy. I mean, 19% is like a pretty monster cock gap for this thing. It is clearing out some levels here that are important. 20% is a lot for SQ, but this is, you know, 'tis the season for ridiculousness. And this could be just your next level of that. So you can see here, this is kind of a longer term, right? If we look at kind of a longer term, levels of supply here right around 80. It's kind of like at this 80 spot, and you've been testing it and testing it and testing it. Now, you know, this is kind of like a third grader's art over here. Whether this is like an actual valid trend line, who knows? But it does, you know, it does feel good to just draw it and play connect the dots. And you'll see that a lot, right, on these kind of names here. Usually like a direct horizontal level of supply is more important than an imaginary one, but how are you supposed to look cool if you can't draw good trend lines? We got one here at 80. Let's add it. This one needs a dip off. You know, this play has been working a lot, though, at the open. So, you know, even on, like, old NVDA here, what's been happening at the open, and this has been happening all over earnings season, is, like, right before the open, you start kind of drifting lower, and when the market opens, you'll kind of just wick down. Like you can see here, you wick down maybe about 10 points. We've seen this on PLTR, every single name you can think of that's had huge runs. Did it on Netflix. You know, just dip off for a hot second, and then whoom, like SMCI did the same thing, and then the squeeze is on, and they turned the algos on, and like this is a $2 trillion company that had $20 candles over here, like, what are you supposed to do? But that's been the play. So, you know, similar type of thing on SQ. I'll watch that pre-market action. Let's see if we start to just kind of drive it down, maybe 74, 72, and then like as soon as 930 hits, let it wick down for a hot second, and then if it kind of recaptures, remounts, then I think we're going to have a little show and go on this. AMD will look like it was dead a couple days ago. Now it looks like it's alive. You've got a breakout setting up over here at 184. Fridays, the squeezes are happening on Friday, so we want to just kind of be mindful of this. If it's that's when all the fun games and fun grindy kind of squeezes have been happening. So even though I personally kind of am like, what the fuck, like it got rescued like this, and we were at resistance. If you can kind of overcome this, it very well could just turn into silly season on some of these. CLSK, this is a former earnings play just from last week. You've got 6 days of consolidation right into the bone zone. This has got a nice spot on it. The 9 EMA is holding here. And, even though Bitcoin didn't really do much today, because risk kind of came back into the market, you're starting to see this one in Mara really perk up. Froggy, right? Classic 9 EMA bounce. We had this on watch list yesterday. Gap up, pull back. And then you can see even the intraday action was really zesty. Just got a quick spike at the open. Nice, easy consolidation. And then you came out of that. Dude, that's a hotness right there. I think Mara's got some catching up if CLSK breaks out. This had good action on it today. We should, if the rest of the market can go, we should see this kind of back and fill this area into the 30 spot over time. Now, this company's a big turd. They've never made money. But, tis the season. Those are the kind of companies that tend to do the best in America. That's just the way it goes. APP, gap up, 6-day consolidation, bone zone's holding up. Got a nice little trend line break here at 58.50. See how fast I draw those things? That's looking nice. Net, complete gap fill after post-earnings. Pretty low float on this one. This also is going to follow kind of, the rest of the tech market. Not much intraday action on this today, which I'm a little bit wary of, but I think the overall look of it is still pretty good. Shake Shack. You got a $100 breakout here. Hey, the $100 roll is an actual thing. Many people don't know that because it kind of just seems stupid. Like, what do you mean $100 roll? That's what I really mean. Like, if a stock has just been hanging out, like, basing out for like months, years, and when you roll over 100, like there's been a lot of studies on this, like that they just start to pick up some steam. There's something about that mark, and you've got a nice, easy consolidation here. That's kind of old school play from 15 years ago, but it's still been working. It's still been working. Nowadays, these kind of plays, nobody remembers about them because all you guys are huffing on your, vape pens, your cherry blossom vape pens. That ain't gonna work here. This is a 2005 setup right here, but this thing's got it. This is not the type of play for the Siga weed crowd. This is a meat and potatoes setup here. A little gap down, $100 roll, and then everybody's having fun tomorrow. Palantir, this is an AI type of play too, right? Nice consolidation. The action on this sucked today, but it could pick up some steam tomorrow. ARM, end of day fade. So this, the 136 chastity belt on this bad boy has been holding. Every time you get up there, every time you get close and you think you're in, it's getting rejected. It's getting rejected. It's getting rejected. Let's see what's up on this bad boy. If it pushes back into it, I think we try to fade this thing off, and get a good spot into that big lockup that's coming. And one last thing I want to talk about before I go. These solars, something Gennard happened on these things today. You got breakdown, pullback, dude. Solars, run. Run had earnings out, I believe. Yes, they did. And they had private placement. They had all sorts of stuff going on here. But nasty, dude. Nasty little run. 43 million shares in volume sold. Dude, this thing normally does 10. Like, I think that's got to, if we need shorts, this one, Rivian, Nova, big breakdown. Like, every time these things look like they're getting rescued, they're breaking down. I don't really understand the gist of it yet. You would think, every turd in the market is going, why these EV and solar companies are such in the shitter. I haven't seen, the actual consumption of solar power is going up exponentially, but these companies are left in the dust of recent. They are interest rate sensitive, but still, That's a nasty one. But we got a breakdown here. Watch this kind of show and go at 8:15, 8:50. We could get a little Friday fade on these bad boys. Guys, trade well, trade fast, trade smooth. You know the deal. I see everybody in the boom boom room tomorrow. Peace.